I will be one. So for today, we're going to discuss another topic or our lesson for forensic chemistry. So before I proceed, make sure you have your ball pens or your notes with you as well as your modules, as if some of the topics are not included in your modules, pero presented siya sa presentation. And once I presented it, all of it will be included in your long quiz and examinations. So just make sure that you have your ball pens and your notebook beside you. Okay? So if I talk too fast, balikan nyo na lang yung, since it is recorded, balikan nyo na lang. Masyadong mabilis yung discussion. Okay? So let's start with your module number 1. So module number 1, objectives. Pag sinabi natin objectives, these are our goal. So after this discussion, syempre, kailangan may matutunan kayo. And what are those? Number 1 is to know the importance and value of forensic chemistry, criminal investigation. And number 2, to trace the historical timeline of forensic chemistry. Okay? Okay, let's start with the term forensic. So pag sinabi natin forensic, it is a word that means something or pertains to or it is connected with the courts, with the administration of justice. So, yung word na forensic, kapag dinikit mo yan sa iba pang words, yung bagay na dinikitan niya ay magagamit na siya in investigation or in court. Okay, for example, forensic photography. So, yung photography, in general, taking photos, preservation of the things or preservation of a scenery using camera. Pero kapag nilagyan mo ng term na forensic, so preservation of the crime scene that may be later on used in court, okay, or in the in administration of justice. So yun yung term na forensic. So sa forensic, ibig sabihin, it is something that is related into the administration of justice or investigation or solving crimes. Okay? So the word forensic comes from Latin word forensis, meaning of the forum. So bakit of the forum? Kasi pinag-uusapan, pinagdedebatehan. Okay? That is the term forensic. Now let's proceed with the term forensic science. So pag sinabi naman natin forensic science, it refers to the application of instrumentation in the examination of physical evidence and other materials found at the crime scene. Lagi niyong tatandaan, in a crime scene area, we need to gather, or the investigator on case have to gather evidence. And those evidence, hindi yan agad-agad idediretso sa court. Those evidence shall undergo examination. What kind of examination? It may be physical or scientific examination para magkaroon ng proof na ano ba yung mga nakuha or anong relation ng mga bagay na nakuha na yan sa crime scene doon sa tao, sa victim, or doon sa suspect. So for us to know kung ano yung kinalaman ng evidence na yun and to prove that there is really crime committed, so kailangan si forensic science, okay? The examination of all the evidence is called forensic science, okay? Next, we have the term chemistry. Chemistry in general is a branch of science that deals principally with the properties of substance and the changes they undergo and the natural laws that describe these changes. Ibig sabihin, si chemistry itself is a branch of natural science. Alam naman natin, you have the chemistry, biology, physics. Pag sinabing chemistry, it talks about substances, chemicals. Okay? Yung kung ano ba yung properties, ano yung mga changes ng mga substances na yun, that is chemistry. Okay? So ngayon, idugtong na natin si forensic chemistry. Pag sinabi natin forensic chemistry, it is the branch of chemistry wherein yung application ng chemistry, ginagamit siya to help or to solve crimes. Okay? So ngayon, sabi ko sa inyo, yung word na forensic, pag dinikit mo yan sa isang word pa, ang nangyayari is nagagamit na siya in the administration of justice. So ngayon, sa chemistry, yung gamit ng chemistry ay para saan na? in the administration of justice. Okay? That is forensic chemistry. Of course, we have the term forensic chemist. So forensic chemist is a professional chemist who analyzes the evidence that is brought in from crime scenes and reaches a conclusion based on tests run on that piece of evidence. So, tandaan ninyo, the evidence found at the crime scene shall be brought or shall be requested by the OIC na magkaroon ng examination. Kanino siya magre-request? Magre-request siya kay forensic chemist. So, si forensic chemist na nasa forensic laboratory or crime laboratory, siya yung mag-analyze ng evidence. Siya yung um, magkakandak ng examination para dun sa evidence na yun. And once the result is out, i-communicate nyo yun kay investigator at case. So yun lang, ang trabaho ni forensic chemist ay mag-conduct ng examination doon sa evidence. And then communicate the result with the investigator. Okay, that is forensic chemist. Next term we have is scientific method. So pag sinabi natin na scientific method, it it is related into principles or procedures. Kaya nga method, ibig sabihin may procedures kung paano ma-achieve yung isang bagay. Okay? So, ganun din sa mga examinations when it comes to physical or evidence. Ibig sabihin, there is a process na gagawin para i-run yung mga examinations sa mga evidence na yun for us to get result. Okay? That is scientific method. So, general term lang naman yan. Another term, of course, you are very familiar with the term evidence. So, evidence is available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief is true or valid. So, ibig sabihin, evidence are very important for us to exonerate the innocent and to convict the suspect. So, evidence yung proof that there is something happened on that area, on that person. Okay? And that evidence, once gathered, ulitin ko lang, hindi siya dinediretso sa court. Rather, it shall undergo examination. Okay? That is evidence. Now, the question is, does all evidence shall be brought to the court? Lahat ba ng evidence na nakuha mo, pwede mong dalhin sa court? The answer is no. Because there are some evidence that are huge, that are big, or mabigat, at hindi mo madadala sa court. So, paano mo ipapakita na merong nangyaring crime scene kung hindi mo madadala yung evidence? Doon papasok yung role ni forensic photography. Okay? So, example ng mga evidence na madadala sa crime scene, yung mga maliliit lang, like yung murder weapon, or let's say, kung yung murder weapon is madadala sa court, or let's say, hammer, or kitchen knife, ice pick, those items, it can be brought to court. But, let's say, murder using chainsaw, okay? Or using vehicle, kasi sinagasaan. Hindi mo na madadala yun sa court. So, ang gagawin mo na lang is yung photographs coming from the forensic photographer, yun na ipapresent mo sa court. Okay? So, yun yung presentation ng evidence natin. So, meron din tayo tinatawag na sample or we use the term sample when it comes to forensic chemistry. So, there are some for, let's say, blood found at the crime scene. Yung blood na yon, hindi lahat ng dugo na yon is kailangan mong kunin, not every drop. Hindi mo kailangan kunin and idadala mo or idadalhin mo kay forensic chemist. So, ang mangyayari ay you just have to collect sample. Okay? Pag sinabi nating sample, kukuha ka lang ng amount, exact amount that you needed for further examination. Okay? So, that is the term sample. It may or it may not contain an information relevant to a crime. So, kuha ka lang, kunin mo yung pieces of hair, fingerprints, bloods, water. Kasi hindi natin alam. Who knows? There might be, it might contain information relevant to the crime. Hindi mo man alam as investigator, but through the help of the forensic chemist, through series of examination, you will be able to know if that sample is related or if that sample contains information from the crime scene, okay, or it is relevant to a crime. So that is the term sample, okay? Next, there are two kinds of sample in forensic chemistry. We have the question sample and we also have the known sample. Pag sinabi natin question sample, hindi natin alam kung ano yung identity ng sample na yun. For example, there is a drum of white powder found at the crime scene. And that white powder, hindi ka pwedeng mag-conclude na, ano yan, cornstarch yun, harina yan, shabu yan. So, there must be an examination bago mo sabihin kung ano yung bagay or yung sample na yun. Meaning that sample has an unknown identity. Hindi pa determine kung ano yung sample na yun. Okay, that is question sample. Next, we also have known sample. Pag sinabi naman natin known sample from the term known, ibig sabihin, alam na natin kung ano yung identity at kung saan galing yung sample na yun. For example, you found a dead body in the crime scene and meron siyang 10 stab wounds. And from that stab wounds, may dugo. And yung dugo na yon umagos papunta sa flooring. So we know that that blood na nasa floor is a blood coming from the dead body. Okay? Kasi nakita na natin, meron na siyang trace. So from the stab wound papunta sa floor. Okay? So alam natin kung saan galing. And that is a known sample. Okay? So those are the different kind of samples that we have in forensic chemistry. We have question and known sample. Okay? Next, types of forensic chemistry examination. Meron tayong tinatawag na qualitative examination and meron din tayong tinatawag na quantitative examination. So, lagi nilang tatandaan, si qualitative, ang palagi niya sinasagot ay yung tanong na what. Okay, kasi ang goal ni qualitative ay malaman kung ano yung substance na present sa sample na yon. Okay? Pag quantitative naman, ang inaalam naman natin ay kung gaano karami yung substance or ano yung laman, hindi ilang percentage, gaano ba ka-pure yung sample na yun. Okay? That is quantitative examination. Ang tanong na sinasagot ni quantitative examination ay tanong na, how much? Okay? Ulitin ko lang, pag si qualitative, ang goal niya is malaman kung ano yung substance na yon, and pag nalaman na, mag-undergo yan ng quantitative examination para malaman natin kung gaano ka-pure yung sample na yon. Okay? That is qualitative and quantitative examination. Okay. Next, fronts of forensic chemistry. So, ano ba yung ambag ni forensic chemistry when it comes to solving an investigation of crime? So, number one, it aids the investigator to determine if a specimen collected is effective for such examination. Of course, ang trabaho ni IOC ay mag-collect ng evidence, and upon collection, so syempre si forensic chemist na yung mas may alam or mas knowledgeable when it comes to examination that is being conducted for the evidence. Kasi hindi nasakop yun ng trabaho ni IOs. Trabaho na yun ni forensic chemist. Okay? Number or letter B. So one of the evidence or pieces of evidence that can be analyzed by the forensic chemist is blood. Very common. Metals, poisons, wines, hair, body fluids, textile, gunpowder, and glass fracture. A. C. Able microphysicist, physicist, and photographer to work efficiently. So, of course, when it comes to forensic chemist, merong mga techniques na ginagamit when it comes to examination of evidence, and sometimes those techniques requires the presence of the other person or other expert in that field. So, syempre, through that, other persons, they are able to come up to more good or more better result for the samples. Kumbaga parang magtutulungan sila para magkaroon sila ng mas maayos na result when it comes to the samples. Okay? Next, letter D. Performs analytical examination of different controlled substances such as dangerous drugs and explosives. So one of the few things also that being examined by the forensic chemist are drugs and explosives. Then lastly, prepares technical reports on laboratory findings for court presentation. Lahat ng ginawa ng isang forensic chemist, dapat yan ay merong laboratory reports or findings para saan for court presentation. Okay? So those are the functions of forensic chemistry when it comes to helping the investigator solve the crime or complete the crime. Okay, or solve the case. Okay. Okay, do hope nakakasunod na kayo. Next is scope of forensic chemistry. So, of course, si forensic chemistry, actually marami siyang scope when it comes to examination of drugs, semen, saliva, fingerprints, and all. So, malawak yung sakop ng isang forensic chemistry or na isang forensic chemist. Marami siya dapat alam. Okay. So, aside from the chemical side of the investigation, he analyzed the material leading to legal proceedings. So, hindi rin naman pure chemical lang si forensic science. Minsan, papasok din dyan yung mga analysis of tools and tool marks and all. Okay? Next, stages in the practice of forensic chemistry. So, pag sinabi natin stages, there is a process, there are steps na kailangan gawin. Hindi pwedeng mauna yung nasa dulo at mahuli yung nasa una. So, the start or the first step or the first thing that is done by the forensic chemist is to collect or receive the specimen. Remember, the forensic chemist do not go to the actual crime scene area. Rather, the investigator on case, upon the collection of the evidence, pieces of evidence that is um that is submitted, or there shall be a request made for the laboratory to conduct examination on those pieces of evidence that found at the crime scene. So yung collection dyan is collection of the forensic chemist kanino. So collection ni forensic chemist kay investigator on case. So si forensic chemist, i-receive niya yung mga pieces of evidence, but upon receiving, kailangan syempre may proper documentation. Kung naka-back ba ng maayos niya na na-receive yung evidence, nakasil ba na maayos, gaano kadami, ilang piraso yung evidence na na-receive niya. Lahat dapat yun ay documented or nakasulat or sinusulat or ginawa ng report ng isang forensic chemist. Okay? So that is the standard ha, SOP yun, standard operating procedure. Those are the things that should be done. Okay, so collection of the specimen. So right after that is, when it comes to collection of the specimen, by the way, ito sa part na to ng ano, sa part to ng IOC at saka ng forensic chemist. May mga chances kasi na si forensic chemist, nagko-collect siya ng specimen dun sa tao. Okay. For example, nahuli ni IOC or sa bypass operation, may nahuli si IOC na suspect. So that suspect shall be requested for drug testing. Okay? For drug test. So dadalhin niya ngayon yung suspect natin, dun person natin, person of interest natin sa crime lab. So, merong request na gagawin, and then si crime lab, ang gagawin niya or si forensic chemist is i-explain, siya yung magko-collect. Bibigyan niya ng container or ng vial si person of interest, and bibigyan niya ng instruction na mag-submit ng urine samples. Then right after that, examination. Pag mga ganong cases, or let's say blood, kailangan ng blood for DNA, ganyan. Si forensic chemist na yung nagko-collect dun sa tao. Pero if the evidence are physical or non-living things, that is for examination na, si investigator on case yung nagko-collect and binibigay lang kay forensic chemist. Okay, so nonetheless, when it comes to collection of perception or reception of a specimen, CIOC, dapat sufficient yung sample na kinukuha niya sa crime scene. Lagi niyo lang din tatandaan na kailangan sa part pa lang ng investigator on case, alam niya, kumbaga, hindi contaminated yung samples na mako-collect niya. Hindi contaminated yung evidence na ibibigay niya kay forensic chemist. Kasi once na contaminated yun, useless na lahat ng examination na gagawin ni forensic chemist. So, first step talaga is yung nakasalalay yung quality ng evidence kay investigator on case. Okay? So, tatandaan nyo, when collecting evidence, as future investigators in the field, as future forensic chemists in the field, so you have to collect enough sample for examination. Hindi pwedeng 5 patak lang ng dugo yung kukunin mo dun sa crime scene. Kasi gaya nga ng sabi ko, madaming examination na pwedeng gawin dun sa simpleng dugo na yon. Aalamin kung galing sa tao or sa hayop, aalamin kung galing ba yan sa kung sinong tao, yung blood na yun, kung kanino. So, the investigator on case shall have sufficient enough dapat yung sample niya para hindi magkulang. Kasi pag nagkulang yan, after 5 weeks ka mo na, after 5 days, kulang pala yung sample. Eh anong mangyayari? Babalik si IOC sa crime scene. Wala na siyang maaabutan nun. Yung blood dun, nagbago na, natuyo na. Okay? So, kailangan sufficient. Pangalawa, comparison standards. So when it comes to comparison standards, palagi dapat yung sample ninyo may pagkakuperan. For example, yung blood na yon na galing sa crime scene. Kanino natin siya i-compare? Is it to the victim? Is it to the suspect? Is it to any other person that go inside or that go to the crime scene? So palaging yung sample ninyo, palagi nyo siyang i-compare to other sample. Okay, that is comparison standards. Third is individuality. So pag sinabi naman nating individuality, lahat ng sample shall be packed and preserved separately to avoid contamination. Okay? So ang gagawin niyo, for example, there are series of blood. Hindi niyo pagsasama-samahin. Para-pareho naman yung blood, ma'am. Ilagay na natin sa isang lalagyan para tipid. No po. So, for example, merong 10 pools of blood. It is wise for you to get samples from those different pools of blood. Okay? Tandaan ninyo, kahit pareho pa yan, magkakulay pa yan, keep your specimen separately, packet to avoid contamination. Okay? Last, pang 4 is labeling and sealing. Of course, you have to know your specimen. You have to label it properly and seal it properly. Ganun pa rin, to avoid tampering and para ma-make sure na admissible siya sa court. Because whenever your evidence is a fruit of poisonous tree, nakuha siya illegal, kahit yan pa yung pinaka-evidence mo, useless yan sa court. Hindi yan admissible sa court. Or, let's say your evidence is contaminated, it's being tampered, napalitan, na bago, hindi na siya magiging admissible sa court. Okay? So those are the things you have to remember when it comes to handling the evidence. Because it is very important for you to build yung admissibility ng evidence na yun sa court. Okay? So that is on the collection and reception of a specimen. Ulitin ko, your specimen or your sample shall be sufficient. Enough dapat siya. Comparison standards, it is always compared for further analysis. Individuality, kailangan nyo siyang i-collect and i-preserve separately to avoid contamination. You have to label it properly and seal it properly. Okay? Next stage, examination of specimen. So, si forensic chemist, upon collection of the evidence, kailangan na niyang undergo yung mga yon in the actual examination. So, siya yung nakakaalam kung ano yung proper examination na gagamitin for that pieces of evidence. Kung alam din ni IOC, then he can request kung ano yung examination yung pwedeng gawin. Pero kung ang nire-request ni IOC ay yung isang specific examination and alam ni forensic chemist na kailangan pang gawin yung examination or other examinations, pwede niyang gawin. Okay? So that is, ma'am, bakit? Hindi ba niya nilabag yung utos ng IOC? Hindi po. Because he is the expert on that field. He or she knows what is best for that specimen. Okay? So when it comes to the examination of evidence, so number one is yung physical appearance muna. Is it fresh blood? Is it dry blood? Ganon. Then take photographs, then measurements and findings. So that is for the examination of evidence. Next is communication of the results. Now, if you have results, the results are always a written report. Kailangan may written report, okay? So, ano yung description ng packaging, ano yung date and source of receipt, and para saan or ano yung result ng mismo examination. So, those examination will be used for court presentation. So, later on, you will be doing some kind of reports then. Okay? And magkakaroon kayo ng mock court. Yan siya. And lastly is we have the court appearance. Now, when it comes to court appearance, lagi niyong tatandaan, si forensic chemist is requested to the court to serve as an expert witness. So, expert witness siya. Ibig sabihin, questionin siya or tatanungin siya about dun sa examination na ginawa niya. Okay? So, he is also or she is also subjected for cross-examination. So, those are the stages in the practice of forensic chemistry. So, again, we have four: collection or reception of specimen. We have the actual examination, communication of the results, and court appearance. Okay, next. Brief history of forensic chemistry. So, ito hindi ko na siya explain isa-isa. These are just common sense. I-memorize nyo na lang yan. So, we have here, dito sa presentation, naka-table na lang siya para mas madali yung maintindihan. Mas madali kayo mag-compare. Okay, next topic. So, sa next topic, we have factors contributing to the loss of physical evidence. Tandaan ninyo, you have to take good care of your evidence. Kailangan din ma-maintain yung chain of command. Because if there is tampering or let's say contamination on your evidence, hindi na siya magiging admissible sa court. So, may chances ba na mawala yung physical evidence? Yes. So, nawala yung chain of command. Like sinabi natin chain of command, kung sino-sino na yung humawak dun sa evidence. Hindi na preserve ng maayos, hindi na transport, hindi na identify, and improper packing of specimen. So, those are the reason for a physical evidence to get lost. And syempre, pag wala ka ng evidence, ano na mangyayari? Ano nang mangyayari? So, ibig sabihin, may possibility na ma-dismiss yung kaso. Kasi laging hinahanap when it comes to court is yung evidence. So, kung wala kang may present na evidence, then probably the case will be dismissed. Okay? Okay, next topic. 6 golden rules in the practice of forensic chemistry. So, pag sinabi natin golden rules, ito yung mga dapat tandaan ni forensic chemist. Number 1 is go slowly. Yung mga examination ng evidence, hindi yan minamadali. Some of examinations takes too long. Minsan araw, ilang oras, 24 hours a day, yung examination for you to get the result. So, hindi pwede yung shortcut. Okay? You cannot use shortcut when it comes to forensic chemistry. You have to follow the process. You have to take it slow. Because the moment na minadali mo yan at nagkamali ka, yung evidence na yon wala na. Okay? Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin sa IOC, ay, nagkamali po kasi ako. Balik po kayo sa crime scene to collect evidence. Wala na yun. Every time, every second na lumilipas, nababago yung evidence na pwede mong makuha sa crime scene. Especially those evidence that came from human bodily fluids like blood, semen, saliva, sweat, yung mga yon, nagbabago yun over time. Okay? So, take your time, go slowly, hindi mo pwedeng madalian, no shortcuts. Okay? Number two, be thorough. You have to be very careful when conducting examination. Kaya nga nasabi ko, enough sample lang yung ibibigay sa'yo ni IOC. Walang extra, walang pasobra. So, maging maingat when it comes to examination. Okay? That is be thorough. Third, take down notes. Lahat ng galaw mo when it comes to examination of the evidence, you have to note it. You have to take down note. Kasi hindi mo na matatandaan. Sa dami na, tayo nga sa dami ng ginagawa natin, di ba? Hindi na natin matandaan kung ano na yung nagawa or natapos natin. So, ganun din sa trabaho ng forensic chemist. Kailangan niya din mag-take down notes. Okay? Next is consult others. When it comes to consult others, hindi lang ikaw yung expert sa field na yon. If you think you need help, then or there is a doubt, nahihirapan kang i-clarify yung result no examination, then you can ask others. Okay? You can consult others. Mas okay na nagkiki-collaborate tayo sa ibang tao kaysa nagpapanggap tayo na alam natin yung isang bagay kahit hindi naman tayo sigurado. Okay? Make sure to consult others. Next is use imagination. When it comes to forensic chemist or if you are an aspiring investigator, make sure to use your imagination carefully. Okay? So, kailangan kaya mong i-imagine yung mga nangyayari or possible na nangyari sa isang crime scene. For example, may dead body and then merong ransack items. May yung pintuan sira. So, what can you conclude? What can you imagine? So, it might be a robbery with homicide or it might be foul play lang yung robbery. So, those kind of imagination, kailangan meron kang ganun as a forensic chemist or as an investigator. Okay? And lastly, avoid complicated theories. So, as much as we want to use our imagination, syempre, dun lang tayo sa realistic. Okay? Huwag nating pakomplikahin yung mga bagay-bagay. You just have to keep it simple. Okay? So, those are the 6 golden rules in the practice of forensic chemistry. Okay. So, I do hope nakakasunod pa kayo. We still have few topics before we end our module number 1. So, stay with me. Okay, so some techniques used in forensic chemistry. Ito medyo marami to, 12 yata to. So, pinareport ko na sa inyo to. I do hope na na-retain sa inyo yung mga ni-research ninyo and that you discuss it well in your group. Okay, so let's start with the techniques used in forensic chemistry. So number 1, we have microscopy. So si microscopy is the use of microscope when it comes to the examination of evidence. So yung fiber, yung blood, yung soil, anything that can be seen under the microscope, ginagamit natin yan. So you already have your experience, na-try nyo na yan, nakapag-focus na kayo, and that is microscopy. Okay? Just tandaan nyo lang yung keywords. Next is photography, of course, preservation of evidence using photograph. Then we also have invisible rays. So there are some evidence that kapag nilinis na, it can be seen with our naked eye. For example, blood. So there is a pool of blood sa isang area or sa isang room. And the suspect try to clean it or clean the crime scene. But sabi ko nga sa inyo, and there is this principle, Edmund Lockhart's principle, wherein he states that every contact leaves a trace. The moment you touch, the moment you uh, touch anything, you came in contact with anything, meron ng palitan ng small particles. So may mga traces na. So it may be the traces are not visible in our naked eyes, but using UV, ultraviolet rays, infrared, and X-ray, so pwede natin siyang makita or pwede siyang maging visible. Okay? Next we have is chromatography. So chromatography, it is used to separate and identify the components of complex mixtures. So, minsan ginagamit to for drug testing. So, yung urine, pag nag-positive siya sa drug testing kit, pwedeng magkaroon ng confirmatory test. So, sa confirmatory test, using chromatography, pwedeng mahiwalay or mahihiwalay yung drug particles dun sa mismong urine. Okay? That is the use of chromatography. Sabi nga niya dyan, separate and identify the components of complex mixtures. Next, we have electrophoresis. So, it is used to separate DNA, RNA, or protein molecules. We also have spectrograph. Si spectrograph naman, it uses light spectrum. Okay? So, instrument used to analyze light spectrum. Tandaan nyo na lang yung mga laser technique. So, lasers produce highly focused beams of light useful in both detection and visualization of techniques. So, it's the same with the invisible rays. So, ginagamit din yan para maging visible lalo yung mga fibers or body fluids. Then we also have mass spectrometry. So again, keyword lang. So it is a substance or it identifies substances by separating ions based on their mass to charge ratio or their molecular weight. Example lang nito ay pag-identify ng poison or toxics sa body fluids. So, masiseparate yung blood doon sa parts ng poison. Okay? That is mass spectrometry. Next, we also have spectrophotometry. So it measures how much light a substance absorbs and at various wavelengths. So ginagamit ko for paints. Okay, yung mga inks, yung dyes, and drugs. So pwede siyang gamitin. We also have neutron activation analysis. So it identifies trace elements using nuclear reactor. Keyword nyo is nuclear reactor, of course. We also have DNA typing, or it can be called DNA profiling or DNA fingerprinting. So it is a method to analyze individual DNA sequence to identify them. Pag sinabi natin DNA, it is what do you call this? It is very unique to every person. There is a small chance na magkaroon ng same DNA but all in all, walang magkaparehong DNA because that is unique to every person. Ay, pag sinabi natin DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. Then almost last, is forensic entomology. So, study of insects found on dead bodies to help solve crimes. So, by knowing the life cycle ng mga langaw or flies, malalaman natin kung gaano katagal na nandoon yung dead body. Okay? Then lastly, we have atomic absorption. It is used to measure metals in small samples by seeing how much light the atoms absorb. Okay, so those are some of the techniques used in forensic chemistry. Madali lang siyang tandaan. You just have to find the keywords na aakma doon sa mismong definition. Pero minsan, hindi kailangan keywords. Keywords lang. You have to make sure that you understand the concept of the definition. Baka kasi mamaya keywords lang hinanap nyo. Tapos nag-paraphrase ako. Wala na. Okay? Really have to understand it. Then last topic for module number 1, we have the principles used in forensic chemistry. When it comes to principles, ito yung mga sinusunod. These are beliefs that can be followed in the practice of forensic chemistry. Number 1 is law of individuality. It states that every object, natural or man-made, has an individual characteristics that cannot be duplicated. So, ibig sabihin, meron at walang dalawang bagay na totally magkapareho. Try nyo pumirma 2 beses. Imposible yung unang pirma mo ay kapareho ng pangalawang pirma mo. there is or there will be always a sign of individuality. So, ganun din sa mga bagay na matatagpuan natin sa Christ. Okay? Next, law of progressive change. When it comes to law of progressive change, everything changes with the passage of time. Lahat nagbabago. Especially those evidence or pieces of evidence like blood. After a few hours, iba na yung itsura niyan. Semen, saliva, fingerprint, pwedeng mawala after few hours. So that is the law of progressive change. Meaning, hindi hindi magi-stay yung evidence na nakita mo as is. As the time goes by, magbabago at magbabago yan. Maliban na lang syempre dun sa mga solid materials like um, the what do you call this, the weapon, the murder weapon, yan. So matagal magbago yung mga yan. But ang sinasabi dito is everything changes with the passage of time. Over time, nagbabago at nagbabago yan. Okay? Next is principle of comparison. Ano lang yung kino-compare? Ang kino-compare lang ay likes o yung tinatawag natin na similarities. Okay? And then principle of analysis. When it comes to principle of analysis, is that magkakaroon tayo ng maayos na analysis dun sa sample if the quality of sample or high quality din yung sample na na-receive natin. Kumbaga, yung analysis natin, nakadepende yan doon sa sample na ibibigay ni investigator on case. Kasi pag contaminated yan, questionable na yung examination natin, right? If that evidence is being tampered, then that is questionable. Okay? So that is principle of analysis. And lastly, we have the law of probability. When we say law of probability in forensic science, it is always by chance. Kumbaga, hindi palaging 100% yung result ng examination. For example, na-point out mo na lahat ng similarities, it is always by chance. So, there will always be a confirmation. Okay? So, that is law of probability. By chance lang yung examination. And again, magpo-fall yan dun sa quality ng sample. Kung maganda yung sample mo, quality yung sample, walang contamination or so, maayos na ayos yung examination, of course, the result is, let's say, 99% accurate. Okay, it is always by chance. So those are the principles used in forensic chemistry. And those are the topic under module number 1. So I do hope that using this lecture session or this video lecture or recorded lecture, I hope na during our class, you will be more active because na-discuss na yung topic, na-discuss na yung lesson. Okay? So I will be creating another video for the module number 2, 3, and 4. So, yun lang. If, kaya nga nung sabi ko, if you have further questions, sulat nyo lang. Then, tanungin natin sa klase or pag-usapan natin sa klase. Okay? So, that's it for today. I hope you have a good day. Thank you.